Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of Kanika Powell, who arrived home around noon from work on August the 28th in 2008, where there was somebody waiting for her at the apartment complex, and they shot her, and somebody called the emergency services. They took her to the hospital where she unfortunately succumbed to her wounds. Now, that was not the entire thing of what happened. It wasn't just an accidental shooting, at least we don't think so, because, as you heard in the search video, she had been visited by several people over the course of about a week. People would show up at her door pretending to be FBI members or pretending to be delivery men, and they all seemed to know her name. She didn't let any of them in. She looked through the little looking glass to see who it was. She didn't recognize them. She talked to them through the door, and then eventually they went away. She even contacted the FBI to ask about whether there was actually an investigation against her, and they didn't say that there was, and they said that if there was an actual FBI agent at their door, that they would have left a card, which this person did not do. What was also interesting to note was that she called her mother in between time to talk about these things, and one of the things that she said was during that FBI visit, when the FBI person left, she heard somebody else in the hallway tell this person to walk the other way, because she had walked to her bedroom window to take a look at this guy, and as she saw him walking past, she heard somebody say, walk the other way, and then they turned around and walked the other way in the hallway. So that's also very interesting, because that means that there were at least two people there. Now, of course, it could have been somebody who was there from the apartment complex that wanted them to turn around for whatever reason. Don't know why he would do that, but most likely that was an accomplice. In any case, we don't know anything about the assailant. All they know about her attack is that she was shot with a handgun and that the person was already waiting for them by the time she arrived home. People suspect it may have something to do with her job. She worked at a Homeland Security type job at a laboratory. She may have had some things on her hands there that were attracting some negative attention, but that's just speculation. And some people think that they may also be related, at least that case may be related to somebody else who was shot while sitting at a red light at a traffic stop by the name of Sean Green, who worked on a similar type of job with also a security clearance, but other than that, I don't think those two were ever related in any way. It happened somewhere 30 minutes down the road from where she lived. Some people call that close. Personally, I would say that's not super close. I would call it close if it was like 2 blocks away, but okay, it is roughly in the same time, because that was November 2008 and she was shot in August 2008, and they were about half an hour apart and both had a similar type of job, so there may be something there, but it's not clear. In any case, there's no actual proof to connect them other than that. So I was asked to do a tarot reading on the case, and we're going to start off with the Hush Tarot, which is this one and which is currently on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the Muse deck, which is this one. Now, as per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as I have about a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Alright, we're starting off in the top left with the Knight of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Moon in reverse. So the Knight of Pentacles is normally very methodical, and this reminds me or makes me feel like she was working very hard at her job, just trying to be really good at it, being the best that she could. And I think she may have discovered something there, like there is a key stuck in these hands right here that I feel is something that she may have discovered during her work, which she probably felt was going to be a great thing. Maybe she discovered something that she thought would have like a great positive future, a great influence on things, just like, oh, really enthusiastic about this thing that I've been working on, and she probably tried to share that as well. And then we have here the moon. It's in reverse, and I think this is symbolizing that she may have not quite understood the actual implications of that discovery, so she just kind of went ahead and told everybody about it, or at least the people that were of course allowed to know, because there was a I believe a top secret clearance, or at least some type of clearance at her job, so not everybody would have heard about it. But the people that she informed probably do a little bit more, or at least some of them did, and that may have activated certain things in the background, which is why we're seeing here the moon in reverse, certain things moving in the background that she was not aware of, but others probably did know. And then we have the Three of Cups, so there is sort of a celebration going on here, and we have here the Seven of, well, just the seven in general, so it's the Chariots. So let's see, we have here, like I said, there is a party going on here. This may be people congratulating her, and also just kind of celebrating it. She is riding a goat though, which I thought was kind of interesting, and a rabbit by the side. I think it kind of represents the type of people that she was dealing with at the time. Possibly some were too afraid to say anything, or they didn't have any influence really. And a goat strikes me as somebody who has ulterior motives and is pretending to be happy for her and partying along at her side. But the next card we see is a Chariot, which kind of I said kind of twice, which seems to me like while they were celebrating, or maybe directly after the celebration, they hurried along to push their own plans into action, possibly some type of containment policy or whatever it is. But on the one hand, we have her riding this goat, and in the next card we see somebody riding off on a horse, and I feel like that is things being put in motion very quickly. I guess whatever it is that they had, and maybe there's like a protocol for certain discoveries that are made, or something that they're like, oh, this needs to be contained, we need to do this, we need to do that, XYZ has to come into play. That type of vibe is what I'm getting from those two cards on the end. Then we have the Three of Wands in reverse, we have the Ace of Wands also in reverse, and we have the Five of Swords. No, the Four of Swords, sorry. So we're not able to go anywhere. This may be a moment of frustration for Kanika, where she probably found that people were kind of halting her progress a little bit, or maybe giving her the runaround, something like that, because the Three of Wands is mostly like trying to go places, which could be physical travel, could also just be you have an inspiration and you want to get moving, because the Wands of course are like an inspiration suit, the fire suit. So she may have felt like, oh, we have this thing now, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to try out this things, we need to try out that things, there's an experiment that I like to try because of blah blah blah, and people are like, no, it's okay, hang on a bit, I just need to talk to this guy, I need to talk to that guy. And then they probably just sent her on a bit of a wild goose chase, or just given her a project or something that may have kept her busy, like busy work, but it didn't actually get her anywhere, because we see here the Four of Swords, and that is usually taking a step back, possibly retreating to think about things, consider options, that sort of thing. So far I'm very much focused on her work situation, it seems as though, because this is like a whole thing that she's caught up in these cards from what I can tell. So I think there is definitely some type of roots there. Now we have the next card, the Five of Pentacles in reverse, and then we have the Ace of Swords in reverse. Five of Pentacles normally being some type of bankruptcy card. You can see that the person on the card looks kind of destitute as well. It's a very bleak card. It's almost like they're going through some type of snowy storm, and they're not dressed to shield themselves. And then we have here the reversed Ace of Swords, so things, perhaps thoughts or words that are going the wrong way, like an initiative that's just not launching. It kind of feels like at the end of these three down here, she kind of felt a little bit lost and she tried new things. Perhaps she tried to write like a report or something. She tried to get things noticed and start new ideas, and it just didn't pan out like that. So we're having a bit of trouble here with getting our stuff out there. People kind of possibly putting her on the sideline. And like I said, so far I'm focusing very much on the work. That's what's coming up for me, but it could also just be in her personal life that she had some type of breakthrough and people were like, oh, I don't know about that. Or she did something possibly online that people noticed. They were like, I don't know about that. I don't know if you should be doing this. And possibly we need to curb your enthusiasm, something like that. So far she's very frustrated, regardless of what setting this is, and she seems to be being held back, being slowed down. Now let's see what happens next, because of course this is, I don't think we are yet at that time where she was being visited by all these strange people at the door. Oh, we have a card that's falling on the floor right now. It is the Two of Wands, and it is in reverse. Okay, so possibly she is at this point trying to figure out if there are other places she could go to, other options, because the Two of Wands is a person standing on a town wall overlooking the area around it, just trying to make plans for the future, and it looks as though she doesn't have a lot of options there. She doesn't see a lot of options there. This card wants to go. What else do we have here? The Seven of Materials. Alright, so this is the Seven of Pentacles, and looks like she is trying to harvest things that she has possibly planted in the past. Maybe she's hoping that some of the things that she has been working on are going to come to fruition. She may have already seen some early signs of things coming to fruition, of stuff that she had set out before. This may be her looking for a new place, possibly, and finding some good alternative somewhere and just mulling it over. It could be that she was looking possibly for a transfer, that she was looking for another job, whatever it is, but she's really trying to strike a new direction to go in, because I'm also noticing that the path that they're standing on, it leads from someplace far away into someplace unknown here up front. So it could be that she was just trying to set out a new path and hoping that things would pan out that way. But the Two of Wands in reverse kind of points towards that being also frustrated somehow, possibly not by the same people, but sometimes you just don't have a lot of luck when it comes to just changing directions. Okay, we have the Ten of Voices, which is the Ten of Swords in reverse. So that is, again, the Darkest Before the Dawn card. I think she is at this point very much frustrated, feeling like she can't go anywhere, possibly very much stuck. Like at the moment she has been looking at her options, she's been looking at things that her resources could possibly get her, like things that she's been setting out there, requests that she may have been setting out to people are all kind of coming back as either non-committal or at least not ready yet, or just a plain no. And I feel like she's feeling the frustration as a result of that, just kind of stuck. Okay, we have a small stack that fell out. Two cards. Okay, that's all right. Then we have the Four of Materials, which is the Four of Pentacles, and we have the Page of Materials. All right, so this is possibly her feeling like she has made bad investments in the past, and now she's just kind of like grabbing at straws with this Page of Pentacles on the right. Four of Pentacles, of course, being the Four of Materials. And normally the Four of Pentacles is somebody trying to balance their finances, balance their resources, just being really careful with the stuff that they have available to them. And I feel like this is right next to the Ten of Swords, her thinking, well, all the stuff that I thought were going to work out for me, that was all a waste of time, and now I just need to see what I can get with what I have right now. Just looking almost desperately for options. Almost kind of wishing that she was in another place, because this person's head is a gigantic rose and they're kind of like comparing themselves to this other rose, which seems of course a lot greener as it's still on the stem. Kind of wishful thinking, but also possibly just spending her time and resources in a way that's not necessarily for the best. It may have worked out, but it also kind of looks like she was just doing things to do things and just being in a hurry to get any sort of things moving. Okay. We have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, and then we have the Page of Voices also in reverse. So this is the Queen of Pentacles and the Page of Swords. The Queen of Pentacles in reverse, I think this spending of resources on the end here has not led to a great amount of positive results, and she's kind of like being unable to balance things anymore, possibly also telling herself that she really messed up this time, because the Page of Voices is of course fairly gung-ho. If you saw the original card from the Rider-Waite, it's this boy standing with a sword trying to fight clouds almost, because there's a storm going on and he looks like he's trying to hit the sky with his sword. It's just kind of like slashing at things that are immaterial, and in this case I feel like she's possibly mentally chastising herself maybe for being so incareful in the past, or she thinks she's been incareful in the past. Possibly that wasn't the case. Of course, we've seen some frustration being caused by other people, so maybe she's just punishing herself over nothing. But I feel like at this point she's at this point in her time where she's just very frustrated and she can't figure out what to do next, and she can't figure out how she went wrong, but she knows that it went wrong because where she is isn't where she wants to be. But we haven't really seen anything yet about the people showing up at the door, and of course her eventual death. But let's see if we can get anything about that. Alright, we have a Muse of Inspiration. Let's put that over here. And then we have the Four of Voices and the Two of Emotion. So we have the Two of Cups and a Four of Swords and the Muse of Inspiration. I believe the Muse is the king in this deck. So this is the King of Wands. Alright, so we have somebody who is definitely very actionable, coming out to take action, literally. Four of Swords is again trying to take a break, but this time she's really taking a break here. And then we have the Two of Cups, and that is like signing off from some type of connection with somebody or a shared train of thought. She may be taking a break from certain things that she used to find very important. And this King of Swords is somebody who is noticing this, possibly. Like, I feel like this King of Swords is somebody else stepping in, noticing that she's kind of checked out. They might not be very happy with that. Like, they might have noticed that there is a bit of loyalty missing, and they are definitely not happy with that. It's a very fiery card. And if you look at it, let me just pull it back out. There's these two large, almost like monolithic beings looking down at this one person who's on a path, and they do not appear to be considering their thoughts and emotions very much. It's like they're looking at an ant basically, and they're like, oh, what are you doing over here? You're not doing what I want you to. You're not following the line. You're just kind of standing there. And that probably doesn't suit them very much. So they may have attracted the attention of somebody who thought that they would be on their side, or that they would be continuing down their path, and then she decided not to. Okay, we have a whole bunch of cards here that fell out in one go. Quite a lot. Let's see if we can get a few of them instead of the entire stack. These two. This is the Six of Wands. Alright, so Six of Wands is somebody who is celebrated. And then we have here the King of Pentacles. Okay, so that is somebody who's fairly resourceful. Could be that somebody, whoever is connected to this King of Wands, or maybe this King of Pentacles is the same person. They're kind of like putting a spotlight on her, I feel, or they themselves kind of light up in her life as being this amazing force and everybody appreciates them. I feel like this may be somebody on the other end, so somebody who is celebrating her instead. Again, kind of like that goat thing from before, as a distraction possibly, just trying to make her feel like she's being appreciated, possibly because they noticed that she was dropping out over here and they didn't want that to continue. But let's see how she reacted to that, or what happens next. So this one, this is the 8 of Wands in reverse, so I feel like this effort is wasted because the 8 of Wands in reverse is kind of like a lack of energy, also a lack of communication. She may have felt a little overwhelmed by all of this, possibly. Unsure how to respond. Oh, this one. The wheel stopped turning, so possibly this kind of like ground everything down to a halt as well. Like the 8 of Wands was already showing that movement was slowing down. Normally the 8 of Wands is very energetic, and there is a lot of communication with the 8 of Wands as well, but it's in reverse, so that is the opposite happening right now. It could be that instead of putting a spotlight on her, this person swoops in and says, okay, this is mine now, that type of thing. And this may not have been in her face, it could also have been in the background, but in any case, some type of big event is happening here that's kind of slowing everything down even more so. Justice in reverse. All right, so we're definitely taking actions here that are not just this could be the moment where they decided to turn on her, whoever this may have been. She drew the attention of this person, and they're now like, okay, we need to fix this because this is not what I want. They may have felt very much put down upon because they normally see themselves as this person who is celebrated, and then this other person just decides to check out. I don't know if this is somebody who she actually was consciously aware of, because she didn't know the people that showed up at her door. It's kind of like somebody who feels like everybody whom they kind of know should always be on their side, and then they turn out not to be, and then it's like, oh, you are not going to get away with that because I am me and I get what I want, and if you don't do that, then we'll see what happens next. And you may have no idea who this person is. Some of these people are just like that. Okay, so the sun is in reverse. We had the same moon-sun combo in the last reading as well, but the harsh tarot is an interesting note. So the sun is leaving, could be that light is leaving. I feel like this is also their heart turning cold, whoever this king is, just kind of like no longer caring, and the only thing they really care about is themselves, I feel. So the decision to deal with her is taken here. And then we have quite a lot of cards right there. How much is this? 4? Alright, so we'll take the 4. King of Swords in reverse. So we're now seeing somebody who is manipulating. It could be the same person. We are about to put it in line with this other king, so I feel like this is the same person now being manipulative towards her, possibly trying to keep her out of the know. It could also be the start of this campaign of sending people to her door to upset her, because she was definitely very much upset about all these strangers showing up, but first pretending to be the FBI and then deliver people whatever else they may have come up with. We have here the 6 of Swords in reverse. So yeah, definitely misleading, because normally the 6 of Swords is somebody being led on a boat to a certain destination. That doesn't always have to be a destination of her own choosing. And in reverse, I definitely feel like she's being led somewhere she definitely doesn't want to be, I think, by this King of Swords in reverse. You have the Queen of Swords also in reverse. There may have been somebody else involved. There may have been several people actually. So we have the King and Queen surrounding this 6 of Swords, 2 people working together to really mess with her and I think control her world, because next card is the World, and it's almost like she's been put in this little separate little hole. You can see this almost a little gateway that this person is sitting in and looking out, not very much at peace, it seems, with that expression. At least not in this combination of cards right here. So they're kind of secluding her from the rest by fooling her and controlling how she sees the world right here. And then what? Because now we have somebody who has decided that she is not on their team anymore. Next we have the Knight of Materials just kind of flipped over. This is again the Knight of Pentacles, which is also where we started. Interesting. I think this may be Kanika trying her best to work her way out of this, trying to be very smart because of course she was very intelligent and she probably felt like she could handle a lot, and possibly she was trying to figure out a way to get out of this by herself. And then we have Queen of Wands in reverse. This may be her actions trying to willfully get out of whatever the way this is. I think this is also her planning to leave. This is probably the part where she decided she needed to get out of there, and this is her planning when she was going to do that, and just being or trying to be smart and careful and willful at the same time, because the Queen of Wands has a lot of energy and knows what she wants, but it just didn't pan out in this case. Maybe her plan was falling short in some ways. Well, obviously it fell short because they got to her, but I mean, like, maybe she was beforehand already making some mistakes about what she should do when, that type of thing. Let's see what else we can get. Okay, so I don't think we're going to see too much more about the situation itself because nothing's really coming up. But can we ever find any justice for her? Let's see if we can get anything about that. Okay, we have the Seven of Swords falling out over here. It's in reverse though, so I think there's a lot of deception going on still. So I think the deception runs pretty deep. Whoever caused this is also very good at hiding, and last I read, all the law enforcement had was the fact that they used a handgun on her, and they knew that the assailant must have been waiting for her, like at her door, and that's pretty much all they knew because they have nothing else. So the deception runs pretty deep. A lot of people are working on keeping this hidden. Almost like creating two different roles. As you can see, the Seven of Swords has a flip side. One of them is gray and the other has a lot of color. But they're the same, or at least two sides of the same coin. But are we ever going to see justice for Kanika? Nope. There's a card on the floor. And I bumped the camera on my way to get it. Anyway, we have here the Six of Materials, which is the Six of Pentacles. So we might eventually get some justice because somebody magnanimously donates some type of information or drops a hint somewhere, because this is the card of charity. Don't know if they're going to, but it almost feels like somebody is kind of sitting around. They're like, if I feel like it, I might drop them a line, I might send an email, I might tell somebody something that will eventually get to them, but it's not necessarily that they're considering doing it right now, I don't think. Like, they feel like they're in this position of power where they can do that, but they can also choose not to do that. Okay, these cards are kind of sliding. I'll grab this little stack and then shuffle that separately. Which ones of these do we need? These two. Alright, let's see what we got. The moon is still in reverse, and we have here justice also in reverse. So there is a lot of secrets still, and these secrets are escaping justice, I think, on a regular basis. So we're definitely looking at something that is possibly connected to more things. Some people think that this is connected to another case of a person who got shot while they were just sitting at a red light in their car. I don't know if that's what this is pointing towards. I feel like this is more pointing towards, like in a broader sense, how there are possibly other things that have happened over the years that have also been kind of hidden, because there is this big moon energy of things will always be hidden as long as we choose that they should be hidden, and it may not be just, but that is how it is. So I feel like we have some type of scratched surface situation here where she came upon something and she may not even have known exactly what it is that she uncovered, but it rang some alarm bells with other people that tried to dissuade her. At least if I think back to the cards that we just gotten, they tried to dissuade her, probably tried to persuade her to let it go. And in her enthusiasm, she probably decided that she wasn't going to do that because she probably didn't see any harm in that. And then that eventually set off people that wanted nothing to do with any of that enthusiasm and wanted to control the situation, which ultimately led to her demise, it seems. And now these same people, or this same group, whatever it is, now doesn't want to reveal anything unless they feel like it, with the Six of Pentacles. So whether we'll ever see justice depends on whether somebody feels charitable or not, I feel. And that is all I'm seeing for Kanika Powell today. I hope you found that interesting. In any case, make sure to leave a comment, a like. It really helps the channel along. If you'd like to subscribe, that's even better. I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.